Hello teachers! Okay, so I'm gonna make a few videos because I know it's difficult for all of us to get to the building at the same time or somebody's house at the same time. And sometimes it's just nice to watch a video because you can kind of speed up, slow down, whatever. And so there you go. So I'm gonna make you guys a few videos. I'm gonna try to keep them short because I've already made a couple and they were super long. So I cut them, I was like, nope. So I'm gonna try and make these like little blurbs. Okay, so first thing, the back to school night. So back to school night is amazing. I love it. And it's also kind of terrifying all at the same time. So yes, you will want to have a PowerPoint to kind of run through. You do not have a lot of time. 30 minutes might feel like, oh, I've got 30 minutes to feel in front of all these adults. It's gonna go super fast. First, make sure that you are yourself. I remember doing this when I was a little bit younger because I'm a little old. I technically am the oldest teacher in the school. So you know. So I remember when I was younger thinking, okay, I want to be professional. I want them to know that I am serious and that I've done all of my work and I'm blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's great. And, you definitely want to portray yourself as professional and that you are competent. But as a mom, I want to know that my kid is being loved. So I don't want that teacher to come off too cold. Like, smile. You're a kindergarten teacher. We need to portray that loving, nurturing environment from day one. So what I do for parent night is I have my table is set up where I've got the things that they all have to fill out. So I'll say, okay, please go over to the table. I greet them as they come in. That's one thing that I think is probably the most important thing that you're going to do that whole night. You want to stand at your door, and as they come through, who are you trying to greet? The kids. The kids are the stars of the show. So when you greet them, get down like, hi, and what's your name? Oh, I love that name. My name is Mrs. Cruz. I'm going to be your teacher. Give them a compliment. It's gonna get tricky because there's gonna be a huge line at some point, but that's fine. You have to greet each kid. That's the most important. Get down on your knees, get down to their level and give them that attention because that might be the only attention that you're gonna be able to give them that whole night. And sometimes in the day when we're outside greeting the kids at our doors, sometimes that's like the only time you got a chance to talk to that kid because it's just, there's so much. So anyways, so number one, you got to provide that loving atmosphere. So get down, greet each one. And I do it one at a time. So as they come in, I'm like, oh, hi, and what's your name? Olivia, I love that name. That's such a fun name with an O. Okay, Olivia, can you come over here and find your name? So right then and there, I take the child to our lunch menu because I have my lunch menu. It's not there yet, but it will be because I redid my room. I have my lunch menu right there as you walk in on that first bulletin board. So they're going to find their name, and then on the little card, and then they're going to come over and I've got a picture of a hot lunch and a picture of a cold lunch. My hot lunch is the red chart. My cold lunch is the blue chart. So I'm gonna say, okay, did mommy pack you a lunch? Is mommy gonna pack you a lunch tomorrow? Or is dad or grandma gonna pack you a lunch tomorrow? Or are you gonna have the lunch from school? Most of the time the kids have no clue. So that's when you're like, okay, you're like, Mom, what is it gonna be? Hot lunch, cold lunch? What do you think? And they'll say, oh, I'm not sure. It's my first time. Just, oh, okay, it's all right, it's fine. Let's just say you're going to be hot lunch, put them on the hot lunch and say, okay, Mom and Dad, if you want to go over to that table, grab with those papers. And then there's like a coloring sheet that I always have out for the kids. And I can say, okay, Olivia, I want you to color a beautiful picture. This is your first picture that you're going to be coloring in our classroom. How exciting. And then just get them on their way. Next. Hello, and what's your name? Hi, John. Oh, I'm so glad to meet you. You're down their level. Let's come come over and find your name. Can you find it? Sometimes I'm like, okay, it's right. It's in this area. You know, some of them are going to be like, oh, here's my name. And they're going to read things on your board. And you're going to be like, wow, this is going to be great. Others are going to come in and they're not going to know a number from a letter. So you have a huge scope. Get them on their, find their name. Great, mom and dad, come fill this out. While that's happening, I usually have music playing in my classroom. You can do a variety. You can do classical, you can do, whatever. Jack Johnson is a good one. You guys are young, so you probably have all kinds of like Spotify music kind of stuff. I know that Allie does, and so I'm old and whatever. During that time, I usually have my Facebook up, and I'm playing videos from my Facebook from years past, so that they can kind of see, what's about to go down. So that's it. So then I'm gonna try to wrap this up. So then once you have everybody in, or kind of everybody in, go ahead and get started. Sometimes I'll like ring my bell. Oh, I've got my thing in there. Sorry. This is my new toy. Can you hear it? Anyways, I'm practicing. So I'll ring my bell. I'll do something. I'm like, parents, I am so excited to meet you. My name is Jill Cruz. I'm Mrs. Cruz, and this is, and then introduce your aide. And I know you have a lot of papers to fill out, so go ahead and fill those out while I'm talking, which is kind of hard because you're like, give me but just roll with it. I usually kind of like look above their heads, just because I'm trying to get so much out. Or I'll pick like a few people to talk to, and I'm like, oh, right, yeah, and everybody else is like, oh, they're having this conversation. So I'm like super like, woo. The kids are going to be in your toys. So big suggestion, get your toys put away and behind curtains. I do have kids that go behind curtains. So I like barricaded it last year, and what do you know? Kids like went through the barricade. So, it's tough. You're gonna be like, okay, oh, boys and girls. A lot of times I'll do a chant. I'll say, when I say, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now. When I say Peppa, you say pig. Peppa pig, Peppa pig. Oh, do little things like that. So then you're gonna do your whole spiel, and then, and the whole spiel, I'll go over that with you. It's going to be mostly like transportation things. They really don't need to know all about your Reader's Workshop because they don't care. Like, they're getting bombarded with information, and they are not going to remember that you have read a self, all of that. So don't feel like you have to like explain the whole curriculum and validate it. It's okay. Go over like the nitty-gritty stuff. I talk about how I want them to be able to be dressed in play clothes because they're going to get dirty. Scissors sometimes happen, and kids every single year experiment. No matter how many times we've gone over the procedures, they're going to cut a piece of their clothing. They're going to cut some of their hair. They're just going to do it. And you can't help it. I've made those phone calls. So, not a big deal, and just tell them, be like, listen, I'm just going to let you know right off the bat that we're experimenting, and children are scientists, and they want to see what happens. So, they'll like, oh, okay. When I get to my Facebook page thing, I say, okay, all parents, everybody take out your phone right now. Everybody take out your phone. And I have them go into the Facebook page and, request to be a friend or whatever. Same thing with my dojo. Everybody take them out right now. This up here is what you want. And I send all of that home in their folders too. Yeah, there's like a ton. Folders can go home with them. They don't have to go home with them that first night, or that first night. Some of them take them home. I've done it where I put all the information in there. I've done it where I haven't. They're going to have their backpacks full of school supplies. So make sure that you've got your bins out in the hallway with your name labeled, and labeled of what they needs to go where. I do a lot of community supplies, so I don't need them to write their names on anything. Some of them will come and they'll have their kid's name written on everything. And if that's the way that you're going to organize your supplies, then great for you. I don't. If you are gonna do it that way, then make sure you have Sharpies in the hallway. I did it years past where I did that, and just as time rolls by, I'm just like throwing my hands up like, nah, not gonna, too much. But if it works for you, it works for you. What else? Gosh, I'm sure there's like tons more questions, and feel free to email me or email Jamie or Allie, Kendall, Grace, Rhonda, any of us. Like, we are here to help you. So yeah, so I think that's it in a gist. It goes by super fast and you're gonna be exhausted, and then thank God that, you know, the kids don't come the next day. That's all I can say, is because you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that was insane. It's gonna be insane. There's gonna be strollers and all kinds of stuff. Like, just go with it, it'll be all right. All right, I think that was a little long, but I'm trying.